doing? Oh, you doing fine? How you feeling? Brothers and sisters, good day. How you doing? Oh, you doing fine? Why you moving this mix up and play for the man like that and Johnny the Diamond
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the JN Circle Thrive Together Life class. Welcome to all of the new people, then welcome to the returning residents. Then we are in what season 5 right now. So there are a couple of people who have been here for a while. I want to give a special big up to you. My name is Tyler Moore. I don't know why I felt I had to do that. I'm a gender specialist and I'm a life coach, and I'm going to be your host for today's session, which focuses on mental health. So we're going to be talking about mental health matters, building bridges and breaking barriers. But before we go any further, and I think this is especially important given the topic that we're going to talk about tonight, we want to check in with you and find out how you're feeling. So we're going to launch our Thrivometer. This gives you an opportunity to give us a little bit of feedback so we can test the temperature and see where you are. While you're doing that, I want to set a little bit of context for what we're going to be doing tonight. So some people, especially the ones who've been here with us for a while, might be wondering, why are we still talking about mental health in season 5? We have spoken about mental health consistently, but I want to tell you why. In 2018, YouReport, which is a project under UNICEF, did a poll with young people regarding mental health. 31 of the respondents in this poll had attempted suicide at some point. YouReport did another poll in 2019. More than 25% of the people in that poll had either worried nonstop every single day, feared a bad thing might happen every single day, or felt nervous and on edge every single day. So we're seeing signs of poor mental health, and we actually might be seeing signs of mental illness in our young people. So we need to think about, what do we do with that as people who are in community with young people? Now, remember, have beg, fill out the Thrivometer something, don't sit down and listen to me attack and fill out the Thrivometer, fill out something. Okay, so that's the young people. What about the adults? Epidemiological studies in Jamaica show that the most prevalent disorder is major depressive disorder. However, schizophrenia is the most prevalent disorder that is diagnosed and treated in Jamaica. I think we're still at a point in time where people would be afraid to even admit that they're living with schizophrenia. And some of us still confuse schizophrenia with like having multiple personalities, dissociative identity disorder, all of these types of things. Dr. Wendell Abel said, although there's no data to suggest how common bipolar disorder is in Jamaica, he's of the view that many Jamaicans are suffering with the mild form of that disorder. So some of the things that we want to think about is, how do we support our own mental health? How do we support people who are living with different diagnoses? What do you do when you've been battling with your mental health for years and you are still not at a point where you feel good? It's really easy to say, oh, things get better. But when you're 10, 15 years in and things haven't gotten better, what do you do, right? How do you know when it's time for you to check into an institution, when you actually need to go in for care? And because we're interested in this live class in having culturally specific and useful conversations, how do we take up the issue of Jamaica's colonial legacy as a part of how we view mental health and as a part of our mental illness? So tonight, we are going to get into that. The Thrivometer is still up? Okay, so in order for us to do that, we have a fantastic panel of guests now. Jane always has this way of finding people who are very smart, but people who also are very nice, like them nice to talk to them, relatable and all of them something there. And today is no different. I also love that we have a gender balance in our panel. We have a man, we have a woman, and we can get into that. So this evening I have, starting from the person closest to me, Dr. Craig McNally, licensed associate counseling psychologist and team building facilitator. I always love say I have a look at plus tax on it, give it dry. So
multi hyphenated, hyphenated,
Yeah.
that's how
I
we
love
do it.
how are you today? How are you feeling in yourself?
Wow, you're checking in with me, which is
Yes.
so important as we're talking about mental health. It's so important for us to, check in with ourselves. So let me check in with myself. How am I? Well, I made sure that before coming here, I had something to eat so that my energy level can be up there. Because, sometimes when you're hungry,
Yes.
you feel popped down and mash up. And it's not because anything major is going on with you psychologically,
Yes.
but food
Yes.
does in fact, impact your mood
Yes.
and your energy level, of course.
Yes.
So I'm feeling very energized right now. And of course, I'm in the JN.
Thrive
Right,
together.
right.
Yes. You're in the
So
JN circle. You're in the
I'm
circle.
I'm in the circle, so feeling great. It's
Was
great
it the
to be here.
mango, Craig? Is that what you ate?
Give me,
Was it the mango?
Carla, wasn't that a confidential
No, it
conversation
was not
that me and
confidential.
you did have
No,
last night?
Craig,
The
you had-
mango, then when me that wash in the sink. In Carla, you really come to public, come hear my business.
Yes,
and
Craig,
me
and it's
that
gonna come
wash
up later on in the
Blackie
show.
mango.
It's coming back in the show.
Jeez,
Oh, it was a Blackie?
yeah.
Oh, that can go on. I thought it was a
love
Julie.
Blackie mango. No, well, I had a Julie in the fridge, but you know, you have to eat the Blackie them and then.
So you're not interested in
savor
our
the
friendship
Julie.
flourishing. You don't want us to be friends.
Yeah. All right, next time I carry one Julie for you, I promise.
Thank you.
If them invite me back after this, guys, who knows where this is going to go?
No, I think you're good. It's good. That's Dr. Craig McNally. And beyond Craig, we have Christina Silvera, licensed associate clinical psychologist and ADHD/executive functioning coach. I love the plus tax them that come on this show. Oh, what talk about that little part there? I'm going to get into that little bit later. How are you feeling?
Thank you for asking, Carla. I'm feeling a mixture of excited and nervous. So being in the spotlight, I'm feeling a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
JN has so many consumers, and I'm excited because mental health is something I'm passionate about. Well, it's my job.
Yeah.
It's something I'm passionate about, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be with you guys. They're so funny.
We're
So-
excited too. We're excited to have you. Yeah, the circle, the Jane has a lot of members, but I found in this space, like in this life class space, it's a nice, safe, supportive space. And I found that the people in the chat, they're very affirming of the people who are on here, which makes it really nice to
I
do
love
this
that.
work together.
I love
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I see that we have launched results about Thermometer, so you can look over there. The first question is, how would you describe your current mood? The most popular answer was okay. Next most popular was happy. And then we had about 5% of people are sad, 7% of people are miserable. Okay, so for the people who aren't feeling so good, I hope that you can find something here that improves it a little bit, right? 2, have you personally experienced or been affected by mental health challenges? 50% of people said, yes, I have personally experienced mental health challenges. 24% said, yes, someone close to me has experienced challenges. Another 24 said, no, I have not personally experienced or been affected by mental health challenges. And 2% said, I prefer not to answer. I think it's very heartening that people are actually answering that question, right? It shows that we've come away. How comfortable do you feel discussing mental health openly? 52% of people said, I am very comfortable. I'm open to discussing mental health. 36% said, I'm somewhat comfortable. 7% were not comfortable and 5% were not at all comfortable. So we're looking at about 12% of people who are still hesitant around talking about mental health, right? In your opinion, what are the main barriers or stigmas that prevent individuals from seeking help for mental health concern? No, one other one here. 57% fear of judgment. Fear of judgment or stigma from others, right? We're not shocked by that. 19% lack of awareness about available resources and support. We're going to try to address that in the show. 14% cultural or societal expectations and norms. Craig, I know you want to talk about that from like a gender perspective. 10% personal beliefs or misconceptions. I love that we are zoning in on that. What do I believe and how does it become a barrier, right? What are you expecting from this class? 33% of people are here to gain a better understanding of mental health challenges. The most popular response, 36%, I'm here to learn strategies to address and reduce mental health issues. 26% are here to discover resources and support networks, and 5% are here to discover resources and support networks. Oh, it's a duplicate. Okay, so then what we're looking at is 31% of people who are here to discover resources and support networks for mental health. Okay, so thank you very much. And thank you very much to everybody who participated and shared with us. We have an idea of who is here. We have an idea of how they're feeling. We know how you're feeling. We know how I'm feeling. So let's start by doing a little bit of level setting for ourselves and the audience to ensure that I like to make sure that we are on the same page, we are in the same book, we are in the same paragraph. Because sometimes you're not in the same book. You're on page 31, but it's different books. So for my audience members, please remember that the Q&A option is there at the bottom. You can post your questions. Please interact with us in the chat. And I'm going to open it up now to Craig and Christina. What is mental health and why is it important for us to prioritize mental health in our lives? Craig, you make eye contact with me, you know, so I do first.
Because eye contact is a counseling skill. And so it just in a minute, me now, like I'll let me know want to look at you, I look at you.
It feels good though to be seen. I like
I
it.
see you.
Yeah.
I see you.
Thank you.
And you're in a safe space.
Thank you. So what is it like? It's one what mental health is a buzzword right now, right? Everybody's talking about
Everybody's
mental
talking
health,
about
mental health.
mental health.
But
Yeah.
what are we actually talking about when we're talking about mental health and why do we need to prioritize it?
Right, you want me to go first? Sure, all right, thanks, Christina. So for me, and the definition that I use whenever I'm talking to my clients or if I'm addressing a group such as we are this evening, I like to think about mental health as having the capacity to face your stressors so that you can tap into your abilities and your resources, which will enable you to learn and do the work that needs to be done. That's so long and holy,
No,
holy,
but-
don't. But
Because
it's a my definition, you know, because I think it's so full and
Yeah.
really encompassing. So let me break it down again.
yeah,
So basically, mental health wellness, I
Yeah.
should say, mental wellness. Is that what you asked? Mental health
I
or
asked about mental health, but
Okay, so-
but you can draw that distinction for us
Right,
though.
right. So I would say mental health has to do with the degree of cognitive wellness,
Yeah.
cognitive and emotional wellness
Yeah.
of a person.
Yeah.
So you can have poor mental health,
Yeah.
or you can have good mental health.
Right.
So mental health is really where you are
Yeah.
psycho-emotionally.
Yeah.
Okay. But mental wellness or mental health
Yeah.
then, or good mental health for me, at least Christina, is having the ability to face all of the crosses and all of the people problems and the financial problems and the money problems and all the different types of stressors that
Yeah.
we have to deal with. So it's being able to face those things so that we can tap into our resources. Because the thing is, when we don't have good mental health, have you ever been watching like have you ever been a part of a Zoom
Yeah.
meeting, you know, or a
Yeah.
Zoom call, and the person has really bad internet connectivity,
Yeah.
and they're like,
Stomach stuck up. Yeah.
and sometimes them freeze like,
Yeah. Yeah. And then sometimes the
And
words
then
run
come
out.
on.
Yeah.
right. So when you don't have good mental health,
Yeah.
it's kind of like that. It's like you are what's the word? You freeze up.
Yeah.
You
Like a struggle.
yes,
Yeah.
and so you forget
Yeah.
that you are the one who had overcome that challenge 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You forgot that you were the one who was able to move out of the house because you were in a domestic you were in
A domestic violence
violence
situation. Yeah.
a situation. You are the one who did fight off the thief. You forget all of that. All of that really goes through the window, and you feel weak. You feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
There's just this inability
Yeah.
to function, and you forget that you have all of that inside of you, and you forget about the external resources that are available to you as
Yeah.
well. But when you have good mental health, you're able to face those stressors,
Yeah.
and you're able to tap into the resources that you have and that are available to you, so that you can function
Yes.
and do what it is that you need to do.
Thank
So that's how I define mental health. So if I'm not able to do that
Yeah.
on a daily basis or a weekly basis or a minutely basis,
Yes.
because sometimes you have to take life not one day at a time, but
Minutes
every
at a
second,
time, like every
or
moment.
every moment,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Moment by moment
Yes.
by moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that you talk about it as a capacity, because capacity can be built. And I love that you
Oh,
talk about it as
absolutely.
something that might fluctuate. So my mental health might not be good in this moment, but there are steps that I can take to improve things. And like further down in the show, we're going to talk about some of the steps that we
Sure.
can take. But I love that you talk about it as, you speak about it in a way that inspires hope, because there's a way that when your mental health is poor, you can feel like, oh, I just have bad mental health and that's it. And there's no anything. But you speak about it in a way that shows that there's work that can be done. So Christina, for you, like, I see you nodding along with this definition of mental health. Why is it important for us to prioritize our mental health?
Because mental health is a part of everything that we do. It's how you operate in your family, how you operate by yourself, how you operate at the supermarket, how you operate in your relationships with your children, with your coworkers. It is your ability to function.
Mhm.
It's just like when we talk about physical health, it's like if you lose a leg, your
Yes.
whole life don't mash up.
Yeah.
It's just that now you have to adjust, and there's one part that's not working,
Yeah.
and you have to figure it out. And so I was nodding along with Craig because his definition filled with hope and how you need to remember things and how you need to pull on
Yeah.
things that even don't relate. Like you fight off the thief yesterday, that means you are more resilient than you thought, and
Yeah.
that can apply to another situation where at work you're having trouble with your coworkers,
Yeah.
or even in times where you need to humble yourself, like, okay, even at school or at work, and you're making these mistakes and stuff like that, then you need to realize that cognitively, like your brain, you're making the mistakes. How do I need to
Mhm.
fix this? Because this is a part of your mental health as well.
Yeah.
Not only how you feel, sad, happy, if you have good relationships or not, but how you work,
Yes.
how productive you are.
Yeah.
Are you paying your bills?
Yeah.
Are you showing up on time? Can you drive? Are you functioning the way that the person your age
Yes.
is supposed to be functioning? And so it's everything.
Yeah.
Everything. When you think about brain, when you think about brain and feelings and
Yes.
thoughts and operations, that's it.
So already I am hearing resilience. I am hearing experiences that we might categorize as negative experiences.
Mhm.
There might be lessons that we learn from those experiences that we can apply elsewhere. There are things we can learn about ourselves and our capacity from even these difficult experiences. No, Christina just said and she stepped on it, and I don't know why. Christina said, are you functioning the way someone your age should be functioning? Talk to me about that, please, because I feel like my functioning is about 30 years ahead of where it should be.
That's
Okay.
probably a good
Is it?
ahead, like 30 years ahead.
I feel like I function.
No, I feel like that's gonna
stress
stress you out. That's gonna stress you out, especially when you deal with people your age, you're like losing it.
Talk to me about that one day.
So when we talk about mental health, it's not only about how well you are doing, but then we as professionals and even your friends and family, they're gonna compare you to other people your age. And so when the 2-year-old have a tantrum, then everybody can understand and figure it out. But if you big 40-year-old having a tantrum at work or at home or in the supermarket, everybody will like, what is wrong
It's
with
not
you?
cute.
You need to be handling your emotions better than that. If you are doing your work at school and you're not checking over, everybody's like, okay, let's figure out how to help this little one to check over. But if you are working wherever you're working and you're sending out correspondence with all kind of errors, everybody's like, this person not professional.
Yeah.
And so it's about comparing you to what are you supposed to be doing at this age?
Yeah.
Are you being a productive member of society, of this family, just a productive person for yourself?
Right.
Do you have agency?
Yeah.
That's what it means.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, if I could add to what you said, Christina, so what we would consider abnormal behavior, or what we would consider behavior that could be characterized as disorderly or as a disorder, would be those are when somebody presents with symptoms that they are having a challenge with. There are many other people, including us, even in the setting
Guilty.
as the clinicians, who are also having those
Yeah.
feelings, those thoughts, but those feelings, those thoughts, those perceptions that we are having are not impacting our ability to function. And so it's when these symptoms get to the point where they are affecting your ability to show up and to do the things which are expected of you, that's when it becomes problematic, if you're unable to do
When we
those
say
things.
mental illness.
Right.
So that's the distinction. Mental health is about, it's something that's on a spectrum, and it's about
It's
your
just how you're
ability to
doing.
deal with it. It's how you're
Yeah.
doing. So
So
just like
there's
you have,
no judgment on it.
Right.
It's like, how are you? Where are you
Right.
right now? That's your mental health.
but
but then-
mental illness.
Mental illness is there is dysfunction, or there's a difficulty functioning in one area, like at home or at work, or more areas. And then mental wealth
Yeah.
or well-being, I guess, would be on the opposite side of the spectrum, where you're functioning well.
Yeah.
And you still have the ebbs and flows of life, because that is normal. Nobody is happy every single day, because
Yeah.
it's normal and human to be affected by things.
Yes.
And to be okay, which was great. I saw that
Yeah.
most
Somebody
people on the
says,
live,
okay.
most people on the live were okay, and that's wonderful, because I think as we go on this journey of mental health and social media, we think that we need to be happy all the time, but is that really life?
Yeah.
Being okay
Yeah.
is fantastic. It means that nothing now but you and nothing not great. You're looking forward to something, maybe not, but
Yeah.
you're all right.
You're just a bill.
You're
Let us avail.
You're just a bill bag.
Okay. So we have mental health and we have mental illness. What are some of the risk factors that could contribute to a person having poor mental health? And I don't know if this is a thing, but are there any risk factors that could contribute to a person developing a mental illness?
Definitely.
Definitely.
Definitely. And so a lot of the mental illnesses that we see, and when we talk about it and the research finds, is that there is a genetic component, which means that your mother, your grandmother, your grandfather, your great-great-grand something, like if you think about it, for a lot of people, there's somebody in the family, even if they didn't know how to label it, or them just say, sometimes you go on like your grandfather, your father, like him did go on to and they didn't know what it was, or and so the genetics is a big risk factor
Okay.
for mental illness. And then also we look at environmental factors, and we look at trauma. I know Craig can talk about trauma, traumatic experiences, adverse childhood experiences.
Right. Well, Christina, you're absolutely right about all of those. But I was hoping that I could just jump in there when you were talking about genetics, because the truth is, Karen, people don't usually know about the uncle or the auntie
The family
where they did one time walk naked down
Right.
King Street.
Right.
We don't hear about those family members until
Right.
something goes wrong, until there's a psychotic break or there is a mental health crisis. And then as clinicians, we are sitting across from the client with their family member, and the family member says, well, we did have one auntie.
Yeah.
We live a poor us. We did one time.
Yeah.
And then that information comes out. And then in these families, oftentimes you would think that because there is a a history of mental illness, that there would be, I don't know, capacity, openness to discussing it. No, because it created a lot of shame for the family, and it might even have been spiritualized. And so it moves from being it moves from being a mental health issue to a spiritual issue. And we just don't talk about it, and the way we look at it and the way we think about it is not in medical terms. And so a lot of people who struggle with mental health issues in their families tend to sometimes seem to be the only one in the family who is having this challenge. And when they try to talk about what's going on and what they're feeling and what they're experiencing, they get shut down and told that they need to just snap out of it. They need to grow up, they need to mature, or they need to go to church and make pastor lay hands upon them suddenly. And that them they need to read them Bible more.
See then at the chat, Obia or demon possessed.
Oh, right.
Right? And lots of them said, oh, you need to be strong. You need to be strong. That's the language that comes up. You need to be strong.
As if having mental illness means you're weak and you're subordinate and something wrong with you.
Yes. And thank you for bringing, when we're talking about mental health in Jamaica, the big elephant in the room are Obia. Obia, right? Because a lot of times when people
somebody lick you,
somebody give you this, somebody do you something. Because when we can't explain it, we reach for explanations that are inside of our culture. And a lot of times that's where it comes to. I think also people don't want to feel like we're failed if we have a mental health issue. And so Obia makes sense as somebody do something to you.
Or demon possession.
Obia or demon possession. So you need to pray it out, and pastor need to come and we need to throw the holy water. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with having religious responses to the struggles in your life, but that can become, as see there, Omar said, it's a cultural myth. And it can become a barrier.
But it also, so the spirituality of our culture can be a barrier. But if us as clinicians pretend or try to put it aside, then we're going to lose people. We have to also take that into consideration. And so as a psychologist, sometimes I have to correspond with the pastor as well, because the pastor is a part of the family culture and stuff. Like if this is a part of our culture, then we cannot put it aside, because then you will lose so many people. And faith is a part of resilience, and it can't stand alone. Of course not. Sometimes medication, sometimes some talk therapy, sometimes all three, and family support. And so we have to, I don't think we should shun it as just a barrier. Sometimes it is that one piece missing in the therapeutic bond, because I'm not a faith-based psychologist, so I'm not gonna say, well, the scripture said yada yada. But if I am talking to somebody who is heavily religious, and I can connect with their spiritual person, their pastor, that can move mountains. And
you said, I'm not a faith-based psychologist, but that is a thing. There are psychologists who are faith-based.
Yes, they're called noetic
counselor.
That's a big word for the people.
That's a great no word.
Somebody put up, say we need to use some of the small word that the people around the back. That just means that there is spiritual counselor.
It's a spiritual counselor. Okay. So what's coming out here again is, in the same way that when you're taking care of your physical health, you go to doctors that you're comfortable with and you can relate to. When you're taking care of your mental health, go to mental health practitioners that align with you.
Right. And that could take...
Christina, come on, Christina, let's hear it.
I think that in the natural progression of things, you will first go to the person that you are comfortable with, but not because you are comfortable with them means that they are skilled or trained in the way that can help you. And so later on, we're going to talk about, being able to assess what's going on and the different, how to get help. If you've said it, you tried 10 million things and it's not working. So that's something we'll talk about later. But you go to naturally people just go to who they're comfortable with first. But then it is for clinicians like us, or even the people, to say, well, can we bring my pastor along on the process? And then they figure it out, because, no man is an island. And so I wouldn't say go to who you're comfortable with. I would say
So it's a
If-
balancing act.
I'd say balance it out
Yeah.
and look at qualifications and
Yeah.
look at what's going
Yeah.
on with you.
And,
Yeah.
and sometimes too, Christina, sometimes it's just not a good fit.
Mhm.
Sometimes you go to a clinician, you've gotten rave reviews about them. You have a cousin who went to them and they did great work with your cousin, but maybe they're not a good fit for you, and that's okay.
Right.
And a responsible clinician will help you with a referral. They will make suggestions to you, tell you, here are 3 other names.
Yes.
See if this is a good fit,
Yes.
because it's a relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a relationship.
Yeah.
That's very important, because I think in the culture of Jamaica, what happens is the doctor is the smartest of them all.
Mhm.
And so when you go to the doctor, I find that Jamaican people don't ask questions
Mhm.
about the medication. Why do I have to take this? What are the alternatives? What does this mean? So doctors just talk, and then bye, you're out of there, and then somebody says, what them say?
Yeah.
Well, and so with psychologists, you need to, when people call me, I say, don't you want to know where I studied? Don't you
Yes.
want to know if I'm licensed? Don't you want to know all of those things?
Yes.
Because you need to make sure
Yeah.
that I am qualified, and I need you to feel like you have agency to question me and say, no, I don't think it's that.
Yes.
Well, I think I need something else. Well, it's not really that. This is not really working out. I thought I would get this, but I'm not getting this.
Yes.
And so I also ask, how can I help you? I don't just sit down and say, what is your problem? Okay, do this. It's,
Right.
what do you need
What
from
do
me?
you need?
And then I will say, let's say somebody comes for faith-based. I say, I'm not the one for you.
Right.
I can't do that for you. This is what I do, but this person can do that for you.
And there are actually people who would prefer to go to a non-faith-based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I just say?
Faith-
A
faith-
faith-based. That people would prefer to go to a non-faith-based counselor.
Yes.
So they might have even gone to their priest or their or pastor,
Yeah.
but they feel they need more, or they don't want to go that route. They
Right.
want to talk to somebody who don't know them,
Yes.
and somebody who's going to probably say something that they don't know.
Right.
But another really important point that Christina is making is the importance of finding a clinician who is professional and who is licensed.
Yes.
That's where we're going now. Anybody in Jamaica who is providing professional mental health counseling must be licensed. It's the law,
And you should ask them.
and you need to ask.
Ask them. And if they don't want to answer, then
Do you
somebody
have your
else.
license?
are you licensed to practice in Jamaica?
Specifically, yourself.
Because this is where you live.
Oh, that is far true. Okay. So then, don't just go in and take everything the people them tell you.
Right.
It's a process, it's an interactive process. And I'm hearing, as the patient, you need to advocate for yourself
Of course.
and use up your voice.
Yes.
Because it's you.
Yes.
You are the person that needs the help.
Yes.
I am not in your shoes.
Yes.
I can imagine, but I can't understand.
Yeah.
And your friends and your family, they can't understand. They can imagine, they can empathize, they can sympathize. And so sometimes it's exhausting to have to explain over and over and have people assume, but take it, try, because you want the help and you want to feel better, and nothing feels good like feeling good.
Yeah. As I'm listening to both of you speak, and I'm seeing the things that people are saying in the chat about, challenges with clinicians and them not wanting to explain, and that cultural element of obia. There's a part of Jamaican culture where, and it might not be specific to us. Once we're in a hierarchy, we feel like we're in a hierarchy with somebody, we just give our power.
That's how it is.
We just give our power.
But it's the culture, and I don't want to go back too far back in the history of Jamaica, but it's the culture of stigma and of classism in Jamaica, and the trained. And remember, we're coming from a place where most people were not literate, and now the literacy is better than before. And so a lot of times Jamaican people have just been told what they're supposed to do and and you just do it because how do you know? And
we don't trust ourselves.
Yeah, because you were told not to trust yourself, right?
Yeah.
And so, and this is one of the reasons why Gen Zs are one of my favorite, or is my favorite. I'm not a Gen Z, but they're my favorite generation because they question everything and they can Google everything, and they have, sometimes it's to their detriment, but they have TikTok, and then they're like, they come and they say, I think I have this, I think I have this, I think I have this, I think I have this.
Right.
And then you have to go through, well, it's not this because blah, blah, blah. They're
Right.
like, are you sure? Because this. And then it's this conversation that I really, really appreciate. And it drives their parents and siblings and grandparents wild, because how dare you question me?
Oh, you can go question psychologist.
But how dare you question your parents? But you're supposed to.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to just take it
Yeah.
because it's your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the term stigma keeps coming up.
Mhm.
And I heard it when Craig was speaking in terms of you will have a family member who has the same condition as you,
Mhm.
but not know
Mhm.
because nobody not talk about it.
Yeah.
Because the level of stigma is such that if somebody has a mental illness, we don't discuss it
Mhm.
in as much as possible. And sometimes people just go missing from the family. You don't know where that person is because they're somewhere being hidden away,
Hidden away, ran away,
ran away,
died.
all types of things. What are some of the stigmas that we're carrying in Jamaica, and what can we do to reduce them? Because I am interested in solution. What are some of the stigmas that still surround mental health here? What we can do to address them?
One that comes to mind is keep family business in the family. No go out a road, but tell stranger about walk one in your son. In your son, we deal with walk one in your son.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
We don't and people who do try to people who try to break out of that toxic suit, that straitjacket that they've been put into by their family, come under a lot of attack, and they come under a lot of criticism for wanting to talk to somebody else, say somebody professional, about what is going on. And then I don't know if you've ever had this, Christina, but I've had clients who come into therapy is secret.
Yeah.
Like we don't even like, I'm going to, like, their family thinks they're going somewhere else, but they're actually coming to see me. And
Maths class.
yeah,
Maths class.
yeah.
A meeting.
yeah,
I'm only for things that I'm not.
yeah, I have some things to do on the road.
Some errands to
Yeah,
run.
but
Yes.
I'm not, yeah, but therapy isn't one of those things because we don't talk to strangers about family business.
Right.
You have one, Christina?
I have several.
But them,
Okay. One that comes to mind is that medication is bad.
right.
Medication can do wonders. That you don't need friends. We absolutely need friends.
Wait there. Expand on that one. You don't need friends.
I think that sometimes, well, not sometimes, a lot of times I hear the rhetoric is you can't trust people. You don't need a friend. Why you need friend? Why you need friend and company? You need people outside of your family to talk to chat your family with sometimes, to get some support, to get some help, to get some space from the people then where you grow up with, or from the loneliness. You need some support. Another one is that you're mad if you go to a psychologist. Sometimes people that come and see me don't have any mental illness. It is just a
Sometimes
space
they just want to
to-
talk.
Yeah.
to talk.
They just want a safe space
Yeah.
where they can talk about what's
Yeah.
Sometimes
going.
we are not we psychologists, but Jamaicans, we're not the best listeners. You
Right.
get what I mean? You know, you come and you say, I'm feeling sad. You're just like, it's all right, man. When you're sad, boy, you know,
Just go out,
yeah, go outside. We are talk about. And so when you find somebody that will just listen, that will say, I get it, that will,
Yeah.
I think sometimes when we talk to people, they're always on the other person's side.
Yeah.
And so it's when you have somebody that just be like, what?
Yeah.
They did, that is so amazing for a
Yes.
person to feel like somebody gets you and
Yes.
wants to get you.
Yes.
Other stigma is that if you talk to somebody with mental illness, or that people with mental illness are dangerous,
Yes.
that's also stigma.
Yes.
That they cannot work. That's I'm telling you, there are so many people in the society who have mental illness diagnoses or mental disorders, and you will not know. And
Yeah.
they are excellent at their jobs because it is not, it don't determine your cognitive, well,
Yeah.
sometimes it determines your cognitive
Yeah.
functioning because mental health is everything, but they are working fine and they are excellent at their jobs.
Yeah.
And so it, all these things that, you know, you must be mad if you need to talk to psychologists, or what is wrong with you, or you're not strong, or you're not brave, or you are ungrateful. Like,
Mhm.
what?
Yes, because you have good life and then you were choosing to
Yeah.
focus on the bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you did have what you did have,
Yeah.
then me would have acted like, you
Your
don't
bread
know
butter
my
pan two
struggle, brethren.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what somebody say it in our culture, then we use your illness, curse you.
Oh, yes, and use it against you and belittle you, and then you find out that, you know, somebody had depression, and then now moving forward, you treat them either very fragile or like them stupid, and that is
Mhm.
not fair,
Mhm.
and that is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one, those were great. Another one is I don't need to talk about it.
Yes.
It will eventually just go away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Magically.
it will go away.
Yeah.
And then these are the same people, by the way, who then turn up to therapy, saying, I'm just so depressed and I can't sleep and I don't know why.
Mhm.
I don't know why. I just can't get along. I would not do that in public, Carla.
You're safe. You're safe on the life.
You're good, man. You're good. You're good. You're good.
Stop me avoiding therapy for years. Carry on.
Yeah, but you know, but we just don't talk about
Yeah.
things. And then and just think that, oh, you know, it will go away until something else happens in your life that triggers you, or something that reminds you,
The
or
last
something
straw.
happens to somebody else, or
The last straw.
The last
or
straw.
right, exactly. And you, all of a sudden everything just comes
It
pouring out.
overflows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do we do? Because I mean, all of these things are resonating so hard. You don't share family business. You don't tell people your personal business. You need to just hold it, toughen up. You're choosing to make issues. Your generation love to make issues. Why you need friend? Sometimes when you withdraw is a good thing. You know,
Yes.
for their own people. You
Go
don't
read
need
a book.
influence.
to read a book.
Sit down in your room,
Go
make
meditate.
you everything you could have possibly
Exactly. You
want.
have fun. You have cable. What is the problem?
No, we have AC,
If
right? Because everybody have fun, but make your AC.
you know what, I can relate to that AC life. You know, but what do we do? So we have this list of stigmas. We know the impact. How do we just take some of the pressure off with these? Like, what are some of the things we can do to just bring it down a little in terms of these stigmas?
You know, I think what we're doing right here is so awesome. And we're on, I guess you could call it social media,
Yeah.
right? Yes, so social media has become such a powerful tool for this generation. I'm not just talking about the young generation, but you know, us, you know, like the people in our age group, Carla. I'm 25. I'm joking. No, okay, seriously. So in recent times, have you noticed that a lot of our social media influencers are the more public
Yes.
about what's going on with
Yes.
their mental health?
Yes.
You kind of hinted at this earlier, that that on social media now, there's this image which is painted, you know, and I will edit out everything
Yeah.
that would indicate that anything went wrong and everything was just nice and shiny
Yeah.
and perfect.
Yeah.
Right. But I've actually seen where there are people in social media now who are these influencers who are actually talking about what's going on with them. They are sharing openly about their struggles with depression and how when people talk negatively about them, people
Yes.
post all kinds of slurs and
Troll them.
you know, and things about them, how that impacts them. And what they're doing is they are modeling for the people watching them how to deal with a lot of the issues that they're facing, that they need to just face up to it, deal with it,
Yeah.
and so on. And so I think just, you know, these kinds of
Yeah.
poorer,
Poorer.
cause a whole heap,
No,
right?
because you come with word today. It's not one thing, you come with a word.
Me take up my spelling bee book before I come here this
First aid in
evening.
English.
Yeah, I'm a first aid in English, right? Right. So I think just having these kinds of conversations
Yeah.
is one way to normalize.
Mhm.
Another thing I think is to make known what services are available.
True.
So we need to provide the services, and then we need to make people know that the services are available. And we also have to make the services accessible, because there are barriers to accessing these services,
Mhm.
such as you may not have credit to make a
Mhm.
call, but you may have Wi-Fi, or you may have internet access, or you may not have the money to pay for these services, because that's a barrier too, the fact that, to be honest with you, therapy is expensive.
Mhm.
Therapy
It
is expensive.
It is.
Yes, there are public service, public
Yeah, these are
therapy
public health
available.
spaces,
Right, there
right.
are, you're right. But it's gonna take a while to get an appointment.
Yes.
And to get your next appointment, it's probably going to be even longer.
Right.
So we have to make it available, and we have to make it accessible
Accessible.
to people. And then we need to tell people how they can actually access these services and encourage them to access these services. You have any, Christina?
Yes, I do. I think that also the doctors and the other health professionals also have to ask about mental health. Ask people. I know that the WHO did some training some years ago with doctors in the depression index. Also, insurance companies need to make sure that they facilitate people getting mental health services as well.
Right.
think-
Which I think has actually seen some improvement. There
Mhm.
there actually are no insurance companies where you
Yeah.
can take your health card.
Yeah.
But they need to provide more coverage.
Mhm.
Just
Right.
putting that out there.
Mhm.
Also, I think that we should make a habit of asking people, how are you, instead of you all right. That would do
Right.
so much more.
Right.
Because if it's ask me, I'm all right, then all right, yeah, I'm all right.
All
But if
right.
they say, how are you, then I have to, just like Carla asked us earlier, I'd actually pause and say, what word am I
Like
putting now?
actually be genuine about what you
Yeah.
know how somebody is.
Yeah, or sometimes people won't be genuine, but at
Right.
least they will have that question in their mind
Yeah.
of, okay, how am I actually? I'm gonna tell this person fine, but I know realize that
I'm not okay.
I'm not okay today, or I'm
Yeah.
actually really great today.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important. I think also in schools we have to teach about mental health.
Yeah.
And so in the more privileged schools, yes, they learn about not only the private schools, but the more traditional schools, they learn
Mhm.
about that in guidance and conflict, but also the other schools.
Yeah.
And teaching kids about emotion words, happy, sad, what that mean. Everything is angry.
Mhm.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes frustration and not anger.
Anger.
And so teaching those things to kids is also very important, especially with the state of violence and crime in our country.
Yes.
We have to be more aware of
Yes.
how we feel and how things affect us, so that we don't lump everything into one thing.
Yes.
And we also, as you talk about children, we also need to start using, building their vocabulary of
Mhm.
feeling words,
Mhm.
and we need to not gender that.
Mhm.
So, for example, if a little boy falls and scrapes his knee
Mhm.
and he starts to cry,
Mhm.
he's shut up.
Mhm.
He's told to be quiet.
Yeah.
All right, hush.
Mhm.
All right, done now, done,
it off, walk it off,
done,
yeah.
done. And if he continues to cry, his gender is then attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, gal,
Right.
yeah, gal, pick the one.
Yeah, yeah,
Tap the
yeah.
darling.
Mhm.
But if it's a little girl, right, then she's, oh no, and we give her words to describe you have a boo-boo.
Yes. Yes.
Oh no,
The foot hurts
your foot
you.
is hurting you. Hush, baby, and so on. And we give them that kind of language.
Yeah.
I'll
Sugar and
never forget,
water.
years ago, when I worked in the high school system, there was a student who'd come to me every day and they would say, sir, I'm depressed. I'm depressed. So one day, one day they came to me and I said, and I said, tell me something. What's making you feel depressed today? What's going on?
Mhm.
And they said, well, I had a math test and I was expecting to get at least a 70 on the test and I only got 60. I said, oh, so you're not depressed. You're disappointed that you didn't get that.
Yes.
And so, and so I realized that that we really needed to build her capacity
Yeah.
and build her vocabulary. That hey, there are different feeling words.
Yeah.
So not because you're not happy, it
Right.
doesn't mean that you're sad. That there are
Mhm.
so many other different things that could be going
Yes.
on in between.
Between. Yeah.
Oh, I lost my thought.
It's all right. We have thoughts in the chat that want to come in your direction.
I had one more that
Mhm.
that I was thinking of, which was that I think when we lump stigma in with all of this, we also have to remember that the stigma of your parents and grandparents, this is very hard. I know I'm gonna ask you to do something hard. Don't take it too personally because this is all they know.
Mm.
And so it is not that they are belittling you because they are doing that from a place of knowledge. It is from a place of ignorance. And when they were growing up, they had depression, they had anxiety, they had all of these things too, but there were no words for it. There was probably no care for it. There was probably no time to even address it because some of our parents, grandparents, they were poor. They didn't have high school education either. And so sometimes you have to focus on just making sure that you can feed everybody. And so, yes, you feel like you fall apart, but you can't focus on that because you have to make sure that everybody eats. And then maybe everybody eats, but then where you live, not safe. Maybe you don't really have a job. Maybe that security is not there. So you can't even focus on if you're happy in your marriage. You're just in the marriage because you're just trying to survive.
Yes.
And so when they're teaching you or when they're nurturing you or when they're just giving you the support that they can, because it's really what they can. And we have so much high expectations, but
Yes.
your expectations come from a place of privilege
Yes.
because you have information and you have the space to feel your feelings. I hear that a lot. You have the space to feel your feelings and the time to feel your feelings.
Yes.
They didn't have that.
No.
They never know about that. They must say, we are talking about me only, you go college, you do this, you have a job, you have, and me never have that, and you talk about you're depressed. They don't get it because they couldn't get it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's about now you have to create those boundaries between you and them so that you don't resent them for something that they can't do any better at it, even though you want it.
And sometimes too, that is something that we have to then process in therapy.
Yeah.
The fact that your granny, your father, your mother did the best they could,
What they had.
gave you the information that they knew of.
Yeah.
Okay, they did the best that they can, and
Yes.
we sometimes have to help you to come to terms
Yes.
with that and heal that child. So
Yes.
here you are coming at 24, now 25, 26, 30. Yeah, how much again?
And for
Right,
yeah.
all of that, all
And
then
you
age there, right? And you're just now coming to therapy.
Mhm.
But we have to go back. We have to go back to 12 and 13 and help you to heal that child.
You know, Craig, when sometimes when I'm talking to people and they have the depression or the sadness or the anxiety, and we talk about the childhood, and I say, describe your mother to me, describe your father to me. Then we go, don't you see that your mother was depressed? Because she was showing all the signs that you are showing, it looked different.
Yeah.
But he was an alcoholic or he was
Yeah.
depressed too, but he was angry. But when we look at it and when we actually focus on it, they just never have the words, they never have the privilege to get the care that you're getting.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we have to help them to give name to what they were experiencing and to what their parents were manifesting as
Yes.
well. So their parents couldn't name it. And then
Yeah.
they in turn can't name it or even identify
Identify
it.
it. So I love this conversation. I love this conversation because I've also seen this happen in my own family where my mother just had to keep her head down and get it done. And because she did that, she put me in a place where I could now have the conversations that I'm having about mental health. But you're right, it's very important that we pay attention to that kernel of resentment that we want to develop towards our parents, because why them not get it? Why them not get it? And sometimes you will have two generations and it's almost like two different cultures inside of the same house as it relates to mental health.
I can only parent you based on the information that I have. And what I've noticed with most parents, can't say all, most parents is that they just want to give their kid a better life than they had. But that for you, you're looking and you're like, this is the best you could have done. But yes, because when you look back at the parenting that they got, they did a 10 times better.
Yeah.
And then now when you have your child is like, what is this?
So then
This was the best you could
Yeah.
give based on the information that
that
you
they
had.
had at the time.
Mhm.
Thank you. I see the chat, as always, is going off. So people are agreeing that we need to teach our males to be more sensitive to their feelings. Can we discuss how simply being kind to each other can afford our mental health? Celia has shared some resources there for support for mentally ill and crisis situations through the Ministry of Health and Wellness. I see people picking up what Christina said. I also see where people are talking about there are so many sad persons around. You have to fight hard not to become sad too. And I want to hold on to that one because I think that's something that we'll touch on a little bit later. Shireen, thank you for bringing that to us. We have some questions.
Oh,
Yes. How would you suggest obtaining interventions for persons who are manifesting mental health challenges without exposing them in a workspace? So if somebody is manifesting mental health challenges, but you don't want it to become known in the workspace that they're having mental health issues, how do you get support for them? Thank you so much, Craig. Especially maybe it's a coworker that we're talking
Okay.
about, or maybe something is happening that's affecting how they work. How do we approach that in a way that is kind and sensitive to the person?
you can pull them aside and say, Craig, how are you doing? I
Mhm.
noticed that you haven't really been yourself lately. Like you usually come in here bubbly, all of that, and you still try to be bubbly, but I can see it in your eyes that
Mhm.
something is off. And then Craig was like, no, I'm all right, I'm all right. Then you say, okay, Craig, you don't have to share, but I am concerned about you. Here is a number.
Mm.
And then you don't go back and keep saying, you call it. You just leave it. Because when Craig is ready, Craig will call.
Call.
Because you don't want him to feel attacked and forced to go and do something
Right.
that he's not ready. Because when people come and see me and they're not ready, they don't get
Yeah.
what they need to get out of it. And then it becomes a frustrating process.
So the support don't have to be heavy-handed.
No.
It's, I've noticed something is happening.
Mhm.
Here are some resources that could help you, and then leave the person and give them
Yeah.
time to do what they need to do for
Yeah.
themselves.
I have friends and family that will call me and say, Christina, you need to call this person because I don't know what's wrong. No, I'm not calling anybody. You can give them my number. Here's my card. Give them my card, or I give them the website that has the list of psychologists in Jamaica, across the island, and I say, give them this and tell them when they're ready, they can call this person, or they can call somebody on this.
Right,
And then you end with, if you ever need to talk, I am here.
right.
And then you just leave.
Leave.
Because if them did want to talk, them would have
Them would
talked.
talk.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think though that when it comes to the work environment, I think it starts with culture. You know, I think workplaces need to create environments and cultures that are supportive, that recognize mental health as a valid health issue. And so that could look like a number of things, including
Yeah.
me being able to take a sick day,
Yes.
which doesn't mean that I was coughing down the place.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that my foot did broke
Mhm.
or I had a headache.
Mhm.
It meant that emotionally I was not doing well. I was having racing thoughts. I felt confused. I felt very depressed. And I can tell you that without you questioning if I'm being honest or you delegitimizing that that was in fact illness.
Yeah.
And then, such as the police force,
Mhm.
there are those settings where having mental illness or being emotionally unwell or is not welcomed. It's not supported. And so there are many police officers, for example, who are not doing well emotionally and fear talking about it
Yeah.
with the office, whichever office it is, because they will be, I forget the term, but basically their firearm will be taken away and certain duties will be reduced.
Oh no.
And I mean, that's what you're really talking about stigma, right there. That's
Right.
really stigmatizing
Right.
a staff member for having a mental health issue.
Issue.
And then workplaces too, I feel need to put in policies, policies that support staff, just as how we have policies that support when you go off to have a baby. What's that called again?
Maternity leave.
Maternity leave and paternity leave
Mhm.
now, which is a major step.
Yeah, big up paternity leave.
Right?
Right, that's all.
Big, yeah. Yeah. And right, so we need just these other policies as well. I
Yeah.
know there are companies who have, for example, EAP programs,
Mhm.
that's employee assistance programs.
Yeah.
And so if something is amiss with a staff member, if you are concerned about a fellow staff,
Mhm.
you can give them some information about the EAP program and say, hey, remember that the company has a partnership with this psychologist or this counseling agency. You can go in, just book your appointment. It's confidential
Mhm.
and the company will pay for it. So those kinds of services and policies do exist in some companies, but
Yeah.
in others, it's non-existent.
It's good that you share it because I think there might be people in the chat who didn't even know that these policies existed because some of the stuff them were you saying about your about before, right? But you can let me know in the chat the things that Craig has just listed. Is any of this news to you? Because I think as workers, one of the things that's important is for us to advocate for the things that we need in our workspaces. And sometimes it's safer to advocate as a part of a group than you as an individual, because sometimes workplace cultures can be like that. But Losanet said BPO now them sit there. Bianca said me never heard of EAP. Colette has EAP. Colette has EAP at her organization. There in Canada, we have these policies in our workspaces as well. Okay, so we're getting an idea of some of the steps that we can take to make our spaces more inclusive. And if our spaces are inclusive, then somebody wouldn't have to say, how can I get support for a coworker without people finding out that the coworker is having a challenge, right? All right, so one culture question, I come in and get it yourself. Why do we as a culture make it so difficult to admit that I am not capable of doing a certain task without judgment? Why do we make it hard to say, I can't manage this right now? We can't do it.
Because when you were young and you didn't want to get out of your bed, your parents cuss you off and tell you that them never care how you feel. You just need to get up, wash the plate, need to get up, go to school. You either hurt you, so what? I went to school in the hurricane, one of these hurricanes that happened. I was there and a few of my friends and principal come and say, why are you here? And another one, we went and the gate was locked. And so in this culture, you are told that you need to show up. Nobody cares unless you put Brock and them can actually see, or you have one of these diseases that the doctor said, don't let them do nothing too hectic,
Mhm.
then you still have to get up and go. And if you are a woman, you have to get up and go and work, and you have to read your book, and you need to do that. And then when the males get older, they need to get up and go and make money and take care of everybody. And so it's just because this is just how we were raised. Don't want to go back to slavery, but slavery, you know.
Listen,
I mean,
what you just,
time a little bit of colonialism, a little bit.
listen, what you just said, Christina, about how we raise girls, to keep going regardless,
No matter what.
keep going, keep going, keep going. And the fact that there are some women who are not doing well, but them have to still get up and go look it and go work and do all of that. I think really though, that question about culture and what Christina described is really what I would call generational trauma. Generational,
That's one of my favorite terms.
which one? Generational trauma.
Each one together. Generational trauma, baby.
Generational trauma, or what we call, or probably what would be more appropriate is historical trauma. So the historical trauma, in other words, these things that we tell about how we used to have to walk and
3 miles uphill,
3 miles
both ways.
and we used to have to carry bucket and go feed hog and goat and what, and every day we used to have to go to school. All if me sick, all if me had done, we still have to go to school. Right? As if, hold on, why is that okay?
Where were you not allowed to take a day off? Why?
Carol, why was that okay? May I beg you tell me?
Papa, me can't answer. My father used to negotiate with
It
me.
goes back to the basics of survival.
Yes.
And so you had to go out there to tie up the goat and do the cow and all of that, because if you never do that, then your family don't eat.
Can we perpetuate that
Yeah.
kind of,
Because that's all I
we
know.
perpetuate it?
One of the things that I think about is sometimes struggle is the tradition that we have to pass on to our
Yep.
children.
Yep.
If that is the thing that has been my family's culture and the thing that we have had in common, then struggle is my family's tradition.
Yeah.
And so when I want to welcome my child into my family's tradition,
I have to
struggle
teach
is what I
them
have to
to
give them.
be a
Yes.
struggler.
Yes, as Lassa
Yeah.
would say, you battle dragon before school.
You better dra-
No battle dragon before it. I am not looking in that chapter. Right? So there's a way that we romanticize the trauma as
Yes.
something trendy, and it's something that you need to understand it so that you can be grounded and rooted, and we don't understand. It's
And if you
trauma
don't
that
go
you pass
through
it on.
nothing not go on
Yes.
because you haven't been through anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And some of these things are so deeply rooted in our culture, and we need to take a loving look at them, like without the judgment, without just kind of
Right.
problematizing the culture and casting it out. We take a loving look at it.
And something else, as we're talking about family and generational trauma, something that is, can I use the word trending? I use the word trending very
Alright, use
loosely
it.
there. Very, very loosely there.
Yeah.
Because somebody, I got to tell me, said, no, that's
not
inappropriate. That's out of context.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Here.
But I'm using the term very loosely here.
Yeah.
But something that is that a lot of people are now talking about is, brace yourself for this one. Christina, you have my back, on that one, Christina.
Volume.
Hold, hey, hold it.
Knowledge. Go
Even
ahead.
now.
Say the word.
There are people who are now choosing to disengage from their toxic parents.
More poetry.
And a lot of these people come under criticism because they have chosen to establish boundaries and to better manage how they and their parents relate.
Which is a part of caring for their mental health.
Yeah.
Which that's exactly the reason they're doing it.
It's
Does
that
everybody
part of
appreciate
caring.
that? No. Because there's this assumption that just because this person is your parent, this person is your father, this person is your mother. Oh, and you know who we do it to? The mothers. We say, No, I can understand if you cut off your father,
Oh, you have to cut off your
but
mother.
your mother,
As she birth
she
you,
could have killed you.
right? As she birth you.
As she carry you for 9 months.
Yes, yes.
Right? How could you
Yeah.
do that?
That, you see, when
You
we talk
know,
about mental health and building
listen.
bridges, baby, sometimes the bridge have to build is to walk out of the house.
Yeah.
Sometimes the bridge is to walk out the house.
Sometimes you need to save yourself.
It's that act, this balancing act between being compassionate for what the other person has experienced,
Mhm.
but realizing that their impact on you is still their
Well,
impact on
we
you.
need to practice self-compassion. There is some called self-compassion.
Facts.
And sometimes we just really need to be compassionate to ourselves. Sometimes we need to sit down,
Mhm.
turn it,
Mhm.
hold ourselves, and just say, it's gonna be all right.
Yeah,
You're fine.
yeah,
Everything will be okay.
yeah.
You didn't know any better. You did the best you could.
Mm.
You will be fine.
Self-compassion,
Yeah.
self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
Self-forgiveness, Elizabeth says so true. Barbara said, my mother retells the stories over and over again. However, these struggles have made my children more productive. So the glamorizing of the
Look at-
struggle.
Yeah, look at what Barbara said. She said, I have done that
To both of my
to
parents.
both of my parents because I needed to focus on my, and then Bianca said, I had to move out of my parents' house to
See
remain
there?
sane. I have learned to love them from a distance.
And when we talk
Yeah.
about taking care of your mental health, like sometimes it's radical steps that are needed to take care of your mental health. Something as big as I am distancing myself from this family.
If I can just put a little asterisk there.
Go right ahead.
Sometimes when we take the radical steps, we have to pause first. Because what happens is
Mhm.
you jump out of the pot and into the fire.
Mhm.
Because if you did not take the time to address, well, this is the issue, why I don't want to be here. This is not good for me.
Yep.
What happens is when you try to run away from it, you run right up into it in
Yes,
something else.
Absolutely.
So you leave your parents' home where it's abusive, but then you end up with a partner that's abusive.
With also
Or
abusive.
you end up with friends or friend groups that are also abusive. And so
Mhm.
you don't, if you just say, oh, this is too much and
Yeah.
you break out, you have to.
It's a working out. There's a
Yeah. You have to
working out
pause
that has
first
to
before you
take
break
place. Yeah.
You have to pause first
Yeah.
before you break out. And my suggestion is if you're breaking out, because you have to do it right now, try as best to get as much support, not from one person, but from a team.
Community.
So that there's not this dependency that you build with somebody just because they are your savior.
Yes.
Because when you are in crisis, it's so difficult to pick up on all of the emotional triggers and the red
Yes,
flags and all
yes.
of those things that you have the knight in shining armor, which is male,
It's gonna
female,
come
or a
save
friend.
you.
And then when you finally breathe, you're like, where am I? Why?
Mhm.
What? It's still so hard.
Mhm.
So just take a pause and say, why am I leaving here?
Yes.
What do I need? And now I need to plan on how to get out of here.
And what am I carrying with me in terms of mindset?
There you go.
Because I will go and create more spaces where I have the same experiences because I have that mindset. Deontay said, or you leave and your family still follow you because they don't know why you left,
Mhm.
right? It's best to address it in some way, shape, or form if you can. And see, Barbara, I currently have stage 4 cancer and need to put me first.
Mhm.
And I find that I have a better relationship with
There you
my
go.
parents now that I am away
Mhm.
from them,
There you go.
right? So it's that compassion for them, compassion for self, and compassion for others does not always mean abandonment
Mhm.
of self.
Yeah.
And
I
I
can
get stuck there.
have compassion for you, but I also need to understand it's not my responsibility to ease you of your struggle. And so I can understand.
Not just not move on. Don't do it. What you say? We can have what? Struggle with?
I can have compassion for you, but it's not my responsibility to ease you of your struggle.
Celia, type that in the chat.
That-
Celia, please, I said to type it into the chat.
That is powerful, Christina. I love that.
I
Hold
can
on, how it go again? I can
have compassion for you.
I can have compassion
For you.
for you for what you're going through and
Yeah,
what
I
you're
get it.
experiencing.
Get it? That
I
it's
get it.
hard.
But
it's not my responsibility
I'm
to
not
make
responsible.
your life better or to be there for you, to be your shoulder if it's too much for me. It's not my
Right.
So
responsibility to
because
do
I
that.
understand your difficulty, it doesn't mean it's automatically my job to
Yeah.
fix it.
My
Right.
understanding your difficulty is for me to not grow resentment for you.
Oi.
No, sir, this need a run up.
Oh.
Can't run up.
One. Boy, hi, sound man vex.
This need
Video
a
man
run up.
vex.
This need a run up.
Production team confused.
Listen, listen.
Okay. So all of my
Powerful,
people,
Christina.
say, all of my people, please, as my
Yeah.
people savers.
Yeah.
You don't
They're
have to save
gatekeeping, and they don't need to
everybody.
be gatekeeping for anybody.
That's why in this job, I don't
Wow,
call you,
that's-
and that's why in this job, your friends can't make appointments for you. You have to want it because it's for you. I'm
Yeah.
here.
Because the moment we call you, it becomes
I am
our
taking I'm taking
responsibility
the responsibility for your
for
wellness.
your wellness, and that's not our
And that
responsibility.
doesn't empower
We just
us.
meet you. We meet you halfway.
Yeah,
I'm
that
there
don't
to
empower
help
you.
you.
Yeah.
I'm there to.
And so I'm not offended by you. and
Yes.
By what you're going through, because
Right.
I get it, it's hard.
Yes.
And so I can make those emotional boundaries. And I
Yes.
think sometimes Jamaicans have that issue. It's just like, oh my gosh, I need to call, I need to run, I need to go. You want me to
Just
talk to them
something
for you?
now.
You want me to do that for you?
Yeah.
And so when I do have kid clients and they have issues with their teachers and all of that, I don't tell the parents to send the parents by themselves to go and talk to the
Yes.
teacher. The kid has to also take that initiative to talk to the teacher, because when you go to college and when you go to work, you can't send your mother down there to talk to them. You have to say, I don't like this.
Yeah.
This hurts me. This doesn't work for me.
So supporting people in general and supporting people in terms of their mental health requires us to resist that reflex to correct,
Yeah.
that automatic reflex to want to fix on their
Because you
behalf.
can't fix my life. You can't fix it for me. If I don't want it, I will reject it. And if I am not ready for the change, then I will continue the patterns and you will resent me because you're like, what is wrong with you? We do everything. We do this for you. You can't. But it's not for you to fix
Not
me.
for
I just
you.
wanted you to listen. To follow me down there.
Listen,
And if you can't listen, just tell me say you can't listen. That'll hurt my feelings, but I'll get over it. And if you tell me no, that might hurt, that might stink, but I'll get over it. I'll be okay.
I feel like Christina put me in a therapy in a people them session. Come and do the people them give away, yeah, because it is 7:46 and we are still in segment 1, and I'm not even mad about it. I'm not mad because I feel like this conversation had to happen. When I look at the chat, I can see this did need to come out. Michelle, I see your question and I am begging you to put it in the Q&A, or somebody put it in and don't look on it, don't answer it. I'm going to do the giveaway. All right, gather yourselves, please. It's time for a giveaway. The giveaway is an Amazon gift card. You are not eligible for the giveaway. Thank you so much. The question that, oh, thank you. The question that is here, I'll open another answer to this. What is the theme of next week's live class? That's a question on the floor for an Amazon gift card of a sum that I will not announce. How much money? Will not tell you. A sum between $0 and $100. Accurate. Okay. Yeah. What? Losanet. Listen, have you copied that before? Have you copied that before, my darling? Anyways, so the winner is Losanet Tracy. Next week, we are going to be talking about flirting or harassment, navigating workplace relationships in the Me Too era. Okay, so Losanet, to claim your Amazon gift card and all of the niceness. Losanet, you are allowed to use the gift card to buy things from me if you want. I will send you my address, but also I'm not bribing you. Please send your email to my jngroup.com. Losanet said DWL, call Losanet now buy me nothing. So next week we're talking about flirting or harassment. Please come back, come join me, because the niceness never ends. All right, so if you're just joining us, because I know people coming at different points in time, you're watching the replay, or you're watching the replay because we know people go watch it after you're tuned into the JN Circle Prayer Together live class. We have been having this fantastic discussion about mental health, family, culture, mental well-being. We've been talking about gender. generations. We have been talking about all of the things. And I have here with me today two panelists who I am just full up to get to talk to them. And I want to introduce them to you again in case you're just coming, right? So we have Christina Silvera, who is listen to Christina's title, please. A licensed associate clinical psychologist and ADHD executive functioning coach. I hope you caught all of that. And I also have Dr. Craig McNally, Dr. Craig McNally, licensed associate counseling psychologist and team building facilitator. We just finished, I don't even know if it described that segment there. Like we were supposed to be talking about understanding mental health, but we feel like we're going to the gozo. Like we really went there. We went there and I love that, right? Sweet Natoya says, happy Wednesday, everyone. This is my first time joining. Thank you, Natoya. We're very happy. All right, so we're going to draw a second here now. We're going to dive a little deeper. So we're talking about how we can build some bridges. Now, we don't talk about different types of bridges, connecting bridges to walk out of the house with the toxic family. Craig, you kind of touched on this, the barriers that individuals face when seeking mental health support. So we have an idea of what those are, the stigma, the secrecy, the shrouding, all of those things. How do we overcome the fear and the shame that's associated with asking for help?
You know, it comes to mind many years ago. Okay, a few years ago, when I was probably a teenager, like 18, 19, 20, which was just a few years ago, by the way. Poor me.
Craig,
Poor me.
25, you know.
Dialing back there.
When we were talking about the HIV/AIDS condition, illness, and there was so much stigma around that. Now there's still stigma around HIV/AIDS, but that has reduced somewhat. And a lot of work was put into destigmatizing it. One very powerful strategy that was used was actually having people living
with
great lives, right?
HIV.
HIV, right? They had people living with HIV/AIDS as well, speaking publicly and sharing their story. In other words, they put a face to the illness. And I think that that is a powerful way, a powerful strategy that we can use now. We can actually have people talking about their mental illness. So we can put faces and we can put genders to it, and really, let's make people more aware of what mental health, of what it looks like. Mental health is not Bellevue, the Bellevue Hospital, which is a great, very, very important medical institution in our country.
I love the way you said
Hello?
it's an important
medical institution. It's not a place where you go to fling down people and left them.
Lord, me done one.
There are professional medical practitioners there, nurses, doctors, social workers, all these support people, because it's a hospital.
It's a hospital.
It's a hospital.
It's a hospital we specialize in a thing.
Right. And you don't live there.
Exactly.
You go, you receive treatment and you go home. In fact, that's the other stigma I guess we need to get under control. The fact that if you do have mental illness, that's where you need to go and you need to stay there. We're actually moving away from that now and moving towards community health, where we actually want people who have mental illness to go home.
As in going for treatment in the day, go to your yard.
Treatment, or sometimes mental health nurses will come to you and treat you.
Yes.
In the case of, if you need meds, they will come to you and they will treat you and give you counseling.
Almost every clinic, community clinic has maybe 2 mental health days, almost every, don't quote me on that, but a lot of them
They
have
do.
mental health days, like Tuesday and Friday or
Yeah.
Monday and Wednesday, where there are psychiatrists and mental health nurses that are there that provide treatment as well.
Right.
Go and talk to them.
So you can go into the public health system, get the
On the
mental
mental
health
health
support that
days,
you
if you
need.
look on the wall, if you go to your clinic, it's somewhere where they have the schedule for the different clinics, the different
It's
days.
floating around, you know.
Because clinics, some days it's maternity clinics, some
Right.
days it's this clinic.
Some days I'm
they-
dressing and
So
whatever.
Jamaica has made a lot of strides. We can make more, and we're working on it. We have Mental Health Act and all of that, where there are more outpatient opportunities than in the past, than it was
Mhm.
just Bellevue.
Mhm.
They're trying to see if people can get care in their communities. Yeah.
Oh.
Right. So those are some of the things we have to get rid of. To reiterate, one, we have to change the face of mental illness. And somebody said it there, Barbara. She says mental illness has many faces and it has many levels of educational background.
Yeah.
It's varied.
Yeah.
And we also have to look at how we treat people
Yeah.
with mental illness. We don't, these are gone are the days where we lock up people and throw away the key and and separate ourselves. They
Yeah.
were untouchables. No, we're far beyond that now.
Yeah.
In fact, the research tells you that people do better when they are in a supportive environment with people who they know,
Right.
where they are with family and friends can come and see them.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going.
So when we're talking about overcoming fear and shame, it's about moving the conversation into the open. I see where we're trying to overcome some of that with offering mental health services wherever you can get health services, so that integrating it into health services, moving away from having people go in for inpatient care. So it's, let them remain in their community, let the community
Right.
provide that. What do I do with the fear and the shame on a personal level? And I ask that question because, well, for me, because I live with mental illnesses, and everybody know that about me talk about that. Me not hide and talk. It me there. I'm still a OSJ in life class.
Yeah, you-
Right, this one,
Yeah.
full of potential. But I see where somebody has said something so tender and vulnerable in the chat. I can't handle stress any at all. I am easily depressed. Sometimes I am afraid to talk to anyone because I am ashamed. And we get stuck. It's very sticky. That fear, because your brain start tell you everything what them are gonna say, everything what them are gonna do. The other people who have gone through it in the past. What if you do with that?
So, that goes from different levels. So one advice that I give is that sometimes we have to start small with the risks that we take with people. And so you just tell them something little, something small that's, business is everybody here, business if them shame you, and you see how they react to this. And then the more you do that and the more you open up, you learn more and more if this person is safe.
So you test the waters.
You test the waters
Okay.
first. Sometimes you just can't bear it and you let it out.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's just about looking and you feel this connection to somebody and you share with them. And sometimes it's your supervisor. Sometimes it's your friend. Sometimes it's just a stranger in a taxi. I don't know if I'm a psychologist or there's a sign, but sometimes I go places and people just tell me their stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm asking.
You have an open face. You
Maybe.
look like you can talk.
Maybe. I don't know. And so sometimes it's just letting it out that way because, and when that happens, it's just that you're so full that you burst.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's just that I know it's hard. You have to take the risk and make a call to somebody, even if you call the psychologist office just to ask for
the availability and the time and the
price.
price and all of that. You take small steps to try and get where you need to get.
You know how much office me call before me finally start therapy?
Mhm.
You know how much price me have right down?
Mhm.
And people name, and the day where them a work, and whether them work online. You know how much, don't feel bad, my love, if you call for all 2 months. Eventually you will make the
But
appointment.
you have to find the right fit.
Yeah.
It's a relationship.
You have to build up your strength.
Yes.
You have to build up your
I
strength.
have to build up the
You have to
strength.
take the risk a little at a time, and it's sad that we have to say that because there's no health without mental health.
Yeah.
But if this is your fear, then you have to just take it a little at a time,
Yeah.
or you're gonna burst. You just take that little risk, and you see how people respond to you, and you might be surprised how open people are, or some of your notions might be right. That okay, this person can be trusted, but you don't stop there. Just like if you go one doctor, you never like the doctor, you go one next doctor. I switch doctor too sometimes. If you never talk to me right, then we'll go somewhere else.
Come on, business.
Yeah, we'll go somewhere else for somebody who talk to me
Yeah.
right. So you say, okay, this person, them
Yeah.
not right for me, and then or brush off yourself, take a deep breath, say, oh gosh, again, and then you try again with Craig, or then you try again with Carla, and you just work a little at a time.
Yeah.
You buy a journal and you try write down, let out some of it, but you can't do it by yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you take a step back and sometimes we say there's nobody in our lives, we don't have nobody to talk to,
Mhm.
but then you just go to the supermarket with this person, and you just did call this person, and you spend every night on the phone with this person. And so just take a step and say, okay, if I was dying right now,
Yeah. Who would I call?
who would I call? And if it said nobody, then you just start calling the number them. I gave Celia the number for
Yeah.
all the numbers for psychologists in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And you can look in your parish and you just call them office and see if them reception is nice, you know, like you hang up a call.
Answer.
You try again.
Them actually answer the phone when you call.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Barbara said sometimes you need to look at the circle of friends who are in your lives and have more positive feedback, because sometimes it's when you go into crisis that you realize that, you know,
You
so
are
them
not
friends
alone.
are really, you're not alone. And sometimes you got them friends are some parring friend, but them friends are not some healing friend. These are not healing friends. These are parring friends. We can go fit,
Yeah.
have a fabulous time.
Yeah.
Juve, anything, you name it. But problems, me and you can work through
Yeah,
problems
yeah,
together.
yeah. And you know, as we're talking about friends and you know, in our pre-meeting, we're talking about gendering and me hope me not jump the gun. You know, the whole thing about you know, gendered mental health,
Yes.
which you know, in Jamaica, more men commit suicide, take their life by suicide than women,
Mhm.
you know, which has all kind of implication and sub themes and
Yeah.
all of that. But really, generally, what we're saying is that men don't talk about
No.
what's going on with them emotionally.
Yeah.
It's almost as if men, you know, you have different parts of the human. You have the physical, you have the
Mhm.
moral, you have the spiritual.
Mhm.
What else I leave out? But for men, it's like them don't have the psychological.
No.
It's like the part there it never make.
No. The man is the body.
Yeah,
I have to disagree with you.
really. Well, hold on there, come in. I don't make the point, but. But all right, so the point I'm making though, Christina, right, is that there are a lot of men who do not talk about what's going on with them emotionally. And when they have friends, male friend,
Yeah.
them brethren,
Yeah.
right, who they can go to and go party with and smoke a spliff with and so on, but cannot talk about how them feel,
Right.
right? And or don't even, or even if they want it, they just don't have the language to be able to express.
They not the tools.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, Christina.
Come, Christina.
You
come
disagree
character.
with me. Come. Tell me.
What?
So what I will say is that I wouldn't say that that part of them is turned off.
Mm,
I agree that they don't have the language, but I believe that men are very emotional creatures and you see it. So you see things like, let's say he usually go play a football match every Friday, but him I go
two football match Friday, two football match Saturday, two football match Sunday. What is he trying to
There's something he's
steal?
trying to get
What
out.
is he trying to get out? Or him stop go football? I think we just don't know how to recognize it. And men don't know how to recognize it on a men, and women don't know how to recognize it as well. When he's more silent than usual, or he's more aggressive than usual.
Smoking more than
Yeah.
usual.
Not
right?
true. No,
Or he was faithful and now he has 10 bag of
Right.
man, what's going on?
Right.
Or he is not working and not productive. Imagine what that does for a man, because being able to provide and protect are very important. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes even when tragedy or crisis hits a family where there's a man, we forget to check in with him because he's not saying that him sad, but you can see it. Him
Yeah.
not there. Him come home later. Him not doing what he needs to do,
yeah,
or him doing it and him not talking as much, or he's not playing, or he's not as jovial. I don't think we know exactly what to look for,
Yeah.
or he's
When it comes
always
to
at,
men's mental
yeah,
health.
always at work, or in at the gym for about 6 hours. We had to do this 6 hours. at
how
a
much
time.
leg day you can do, brother?
Yeah, you know, like, or he's, yeah, let's say he's not a sports person, not an athletic person, but he's into music, and all of the music, them sad and depressed. You meet him, love songs all the time. No, yeah, hear some things and you're just like, all right, Bridget,
Here, chop a tune.
chop a tune, or oh gosh, I love this artist, but him sing about a lot of sad. He talks about his mental illness a lot.
Oh, we know the one you talk about. It
Yes.
did not come to me though.
And I love his music so much because it demonstrates, or he's drinking more than usual,
Mhm,
or he's sleeping more, or him not sleep,
mhm.
or you see him fighting in him sleep. I think that we just don't know how to recognize it,
Yeah.
and then we don't know how to talk to men about what they're experiencing.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's where we go wrong a lot of the times, because they don't have they weren't trained with the words. Like you said, the girls say, all right, yo,
Yeah.
get top.
But we don't give
Walk it
guys the
off.
words,
But
the
we-
boys the words,
Yeah,
and we don't allow them to hurt,
but we teach
to
them
stay
how
in
to
it.
express it, because
Mhm.
they walk it off, them play it off, them run it off, them drink
Very
it off,
active.
them have sex it off, them
Right.
all of it off. That's how do I not think about it? That's how we
They don't
Right.
train
process.
them.
They just get rid of it as quickly as
And
possible.
it doesn't, it sticks with them, and then it affects the type of partner and father and the type of employee or employer that they are,
Mhm,
because they have all these unresolved things that nobody even cared
mhm,
to ask about.
mhm.
No, and they don't even know that somebody needs to ask about it. Did you know that men, the age of sexual debut for men, the first time that they get sexual contact is way before women?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so when little girls get assaulted or raped or
Mhm.
abused, it's up in arms, but little boys, they're getting assaulted and raped before the girls, and then it's glorified.
And a lot of them can't identify it as assault.
No,
If you try
Right.
to raise it to them as assault, they don't name it that
but
way.
then when
Right.
you look
It's a
at their
rite of passage.
But-
right,
yeah.
but then when you look at their sexual history and
And
their
their behavior.
sexual practices,
Yeah,
it screams trauma.
you can tell.
It screams trauma. And
Yeah.
so I really, really love men. That's why I had to disagree with. I
Yeah.
have to advocate for them.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. There's also the way that in relationships, sometimes men get into a relationship and this outside of his mother, this is the first woman that he has ever been able to be honest with, and he's ever been able to be vulnerable. And people love talk about how women love time and whatever.
Mhm.
This man is going to, I won't say the B word, he's gonna impregnate you and he's gonna lock you down. Right? And then when you try to end that relationship, what this man is looking at is the only safe space he has
Right.
ever had walking out of his life.
And
And
that's a
the
major
emo-
loss for him.
Yeah, and then the
Yeah.
emotions that come up, and because a lot of times we tell men, you can express whatever you want to express as long as it comes out as anger.
Mhm,
If your sexual desire comes out as anger,
mhm.
if your hurt comes out as anger, if your sadness comes out as anger, then we get into these cycles of abuse that we can't understand. And so much of it comes down to this woman is the person that I have been vulnerable with,
Mhm.
and she's leaving. And I don't want to be vulnerable with somebody else. And I feel like I'm losing everything in this person, but I also don't have the language to say that.
It also comes from a distrust of women as well. So
Fundamental.
when their mothers are abusive or neglectful,
when they have so much resentment, even if they can't even identify it, about how their mothers have treated them, or
Yeah.
enmeshment
Yeah,
with their mothers as well.
Yeah.
Enmeshment mean that them closer than you think is normal.
yes,
Is that now when you are now a sexual figure outside of their mother, that plays out as
Mhm.
well.
yes.
And that's why when you're dating, you have to ask about the family history and their relationships with their family and all of these things, so that you can get an idea of how does this person treat, women, and how do they treat their mothers, and then also how did their fathers treat them, because a lot of times they've gotten the idea of how to be a man from the father who was there but not there, or not there, or who was there and who was wonderful. And so it's so much.
And a lot of times the father showing signs of poor mental health,
Of course.
coming out as abuse in the
Of
family,
course. Of
and
course.
no intervention,
The
nobody
depression,
knowing what
the
to do.
alcoholism, the weed addiction, yeah.
When I found out that
Multiple
for
partners.
men, depression often shows up as aggression,
Mhm,
my mind was blown that day.
mhm.
When I realized that, like that, it could be so gendered.
Men and boys.
Men and boys, that depression shows up as a, because when we think about depression, you think, oh, they're sad, they're sleeping for 15 hours
lack
a
of
day,
energy.
lack of energy.
That's because women are the sample that are used to
Used.
define a lot of
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
So really, what needs to happen is we need to be researching mental health among men and contextualize it too,
Yeah.
so we can really understand what's going on with men within the Jamaican context, because it shows up differently in
It-
women
Yeah.
as opposed to men.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to gender disaggregate. And there's so many people, and this is the last thing I'll say on this. There's so many people, like when you think about it from a class perspective, that they can understand why they would need a mental health day, and they could
Mhm.
understand why they might be feeling sad today. But they would never think, I think my helper might need a mental health
Mhm.
day. Oh, maybe I'm a gardener
Mhm.
when I need a mental health day. Oh, maybe the young lady who is the cashier in a supermarket or a wholesale might need a mental health day, because when we think about people from low income backgrounds, people who don't have high educational attainment, it's almost like we feel, oh, you're not smart enough to have a mental health problem. You're not rich enough to have a mental health problem, because the mental health something. This is really for the uptowns and for the people who are evolved enough to recognize that they have
privilege.
mental health. It's a privilege. It's a privilege. And it sometimes it is a privilege to have the space to think about your mental health, but we're all impacted,
Mhm.
right? Our mental health is something that we're all dealing with.
Right, and I mean, even if any of those people feel that they could use a break, they could use a mental health day, they can't afford
Mhm.
to take a mental health
Yeah.
day, because that money is coming out of the little pittance
Yeah.
where them already I get. So
And this is where like our employment practices, things like minimum wage, start to overlap with things like mental health. That's when like, you feel the things that are tightening on each other. Okay, so thank you all for that. Like, thank you. That was very full. Thank you. Christina, I remember a while ago you said men and boys,
Mhm.
right? And I know that mental health in kids is one of the things that you are really passionate about. What are some of the experiences that young people and kids are having? What should we be looking out for? Because some of we don't really know what to look out for.
You look out for the tummy aches, you look out for the headaches, you look out for the cramps and pains that you can't explain. You look out for multiple doctor visits and they don't know what's wrong. You look out for the not sleeping or the sleeping too much. You look out for the drawings that look very dark or killish,
Mhm.
You would look out for the not eating or the overeating.
Mhm.
You would look out for the crying all the time. You'd look out for the inconsistency with friends. So for this term, your kid has all these sets of friends.
Right.
Next term, you don't hear about them no more.
Whole new set.
It's a whole new set of friends, and that happens all the time. It's a difficulty connecting with other people. They don't really engage with the family. as they get older in adolescence, they want a little space, but they're not really engaging with you anymore. It's the I want to die, I hate myself. It is the punching of the walls and the cutting and the stabbing self and the hitting up into things and the banging the head on the wall. I'm going very fast because there's a lot of things. I'm trying to reload. It's the hitting themselves. It's the I'm so stupid. I can't get it. I can't get anything right. Mommy, do you love me? Daddy, why you hate me? It's that kind of like, I wish I wasn't here anymore. I wish I was dead. I wish I wasn't.
Bedwetting,
The-
somebody just mentioned.
Sometimes it's the bedwetting that happens as well. Sometimes it's just how they behave with certain individuals. They might be friendly with other people, but this one person, they're not really, it's very skittish around or inappropriate with as well sometimes.
Seem
Some-
too comfortable with that
Mhm.
person.
It's too comfortable. Sometimes it's the inserting of things into their private areas as well. Sometimes it's the touching their private areas in public spaces as well. And it's not for you to shun them because masturbation is normal at certain age ranges, but then teaching where to be appropriate. So
Yeah.
they're not victimized and they know appropriate places as
Right,
well.
right.
But then also it's inappropriate touching with other people. What else? It's so much. Sometimes not sleeping, the sleeping too much,
Yeah.
the not eating, the binge eating. You go in their room, you find like 6 snacks them eat one time. What's that going on?
Mm.
You know, sometimes with boys at a certain age, you know, like adolescents in puberty, them eat whole heap. So it's
Yeah.
just like, wow, the parents, sorry for you. You
One
grocery
loaf of
bill,
bread for the weekend.
one loaf of bread one time, but sometimes with, especially with the girls and the boys, we are seeing the boys not eating at all. They come home with all of their lunch money and you say, what you eat? Never eat nothing. They've never eaten a breakfast. They've never eaten a dinner. What's going on? You have to just, it's so many things that make you go, what? What's this? What's going on here? That you have to look for.
And we can miss those things,
Of course.
especially if we're from that mindset, say, if my child is not functioning in the way I expect the pitney bad, any one of those things could be mistaken for a pitney way bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or them all right because them running and playing, or sometimes them feisty. Kids feisty sometimes, or them lie sometimes, so nothing wrong with them. If them
Yeah.
did stop to tell a lie, or them on them phone too much. So, you know.
And the phone,
the
social
phone,
media, they might get
something.
this from,
Mhm.
right?
So this is what you have to, you look out, because depression in children is very prevalent.
Yeah.
Very common, and anxiety. Lots of kids know the word anxiety now, which is amazing, because it's a real word that we all experience. It's normal. Depression is a little bit deeper than sadness. It comes with a lot more. So
Yeah.
sadness is, everybody experiences sadness, but not necessarily depression. But the anxiety, we talk about it. It's
Yeah.
okay to be anxious. I was anxious when I started this
Yeah.
conversation, but then it is. It's because I care.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I think the major point you're making, Christina, is that all of these mental illness looks different in children than it does in adults. And it's all very age specific. So there are some things at a certain age that are expected and normal. But at another age, it's an indication or a cue that something is amiss.
Like bedwetting, that's one of the biggest ones, because you'll have a child who, you know, they potty trained and they pass through that and they're now like 6, 7, 8, and then they start wetting the bed again, and that can.
Well, sometimes it's not always,
Yeah.
you know, mental health related. Sometimes there could be something physical going on. And so it's good to take your child to
Pediatrician.
me never said pediatrician, but and I pediatrician. To, you know, a doctor who I was to say pediatrician. But I mean,
very
if you
honest
can
conversation.
afford to take your child to a pediatrician by all
Pediatrician
means.
or family,
Like a GP,
Right.
yeah, or like a one that has family.
But somebody
family
who
medicine.
understands.
Yeah.
you
So
know,
we need to
children, right?
pay attention to our children. And if I'm hearing you right, it's also to approach them with compassion
Yes.
and remove that idea, say, pick them bad, and anything picnic would need a rather correction.
I think that sometimes we fail to ask children questions. We are not really curious about what they have going on because we're like, what can you really have going on?
Yeah,
Like,
picnic.
they go to school and they think that they don't, but you have an anxious boy, you just go to school, but school can be a very terrifying place.
I'm here to tell you.
And you dealing with you, their parent, can also be difficult, and we just have to be curious. What does this mean?
Yep.
Asking and just pausing for the answer. And sometimes they don't have the answer, and then you can give suggestions, but when you are curious with your kid, you will find out so much more than if you shut them down.
They shut them down.
And also to understand that there are, that as the family
Mm,
experiences different transitions and different things go on
yeah,
within the family, it is going to have an effect on the child.
yeah.
Some to a greater extent than others. Transitions like grandma is now going to come and live with us. What does that mean for the child? Mommy and daddy are no longer going to be living together, or they're living together, but they no longer stay in the same room.
Mm,
We don't drive to school anymore.
Mhm.
How comes I now have to take the bus to
Mhm.
school? How come I can't get 4 snacks anymore to
Mhm.
take to school? You know, because there are changes in the financial situation of the
Mhm.
family,
Mhm.
divorce, you know, and so on. So we moving
Move it.
moving is a major, I mean, changing schools, a family member becoming ill. I'm
Yeah.
talking about physical
Yeah,
illness
yeah.
now,
And death.
is, and
And
death,
death,
and death,
yeah.
you know, so we really have to be sensitive and not take anything for granted.
Yeah.
These are children, they're not adults.
Yeah.
And I think too that sometimes parents, they care a lot about their child and they send them to get help. They send them to child guidance, they private practice, we can
Yeah.
afford it. But then when you assess the child, they are fine. It is you, the parent, that is not okay,
Okay.
that is causing the challenge with the child. And so if you had gone to therapy, and if you get the therapy or you get the help or you get some support or you ship up something
Yeah,
with yourself to just find some happiness for yourself, the kid
it would
will
have
mellow out.
improved for the picnic.
Yeah.
So that's
So-
your first, oh, I'm so sorry, please go ahead,
Oh, thank you.
please.
So sometimes parents stay together, like they don't separate because they're saying, I need my child to grow up in a two-family home. But what happens is that there is abuse, there is disconnect, there is chaos in the home, that the kid would have been so much better. And the kids are getting more vocal. They're like, please just break up, please.
The need for divorce.
Please, divorce. Not, let's do it, please. I need it because this is too much.
Yeah,
And so it will be difficult, the transition.
yeah,
But you also have to be happy. You can't, if you are not happy, if you are not okay, then you cannot show up as the best parent for your kid.
so sometimes taking care of your mental health is an integral part of supporting your child's mental health.
Definitely. All the time, actually.
All the time.
All the time. You can't be, if you are depressed, if you are down, it means you are more irritable or you have less emotional
Yeah,
tolerance and space.
yeah.
And so the ability to be curious and fully present for your kid, sometimes if you are not addressing it, you're just cutting and go through it,
Yes.
if that's the term.
Yeah, cut
Then-
and cut. Mhm,
Mhm. Then
mhm.
your kid, you don't have the space to fully
Yeah,
envelop them.
yeah. Elizabeth is saying it's the children can discern when something is wrong between the parents. Melissa said, preach, right? Okay, so we've spoken about how we can build some bridges. We've spoken about how we can address some trauma, how we can try to cut down the stigma, just take it down a notch. We've spoken about some of the gendered aspects of it. I'm very grateful for the perspective that both of you are bringing to this conversation, because I think that they're balancing each other very nicely. Now we're going to talk about a gift card and a giveaway.
For me,
You are not eligible. Again, you should speak
What
to
a transition
Celia.
now, Carla.
You should speak to Celia about why you're not
Just
eligible
for-
for the
for
gift
the gift
card.
cards.
I'm not calling any names, but looking at chat, you see Celia name, and Celia make you know eligible. No, but it go come back to the two of them for the gift card from Amazon. Both of our guests are licensed psychologists, but that's not all they are. There's tax. They're psychologists plus tax. For this Amazon gift card, please, can you tell me what additional titles either Christina or Craig has added on top of being a psychologist? What is the tax you do have to tell? Hey, Celia.
No, that's this one.
Oh, and then that's Celia.
Celia's
Celia,
new
why
bill.
you come here with Celia in your ear? Celia new fit. No, wait, no. Oh no, I go so hard in that chat. No, I'm the chat specialist
Yeah.
here. For noticing me. I feel like you are. Wait, who said it first? Was it Celia New? Celia Newfield? Celia Newfield, you're the winner. Yes.
You got them both.
Associate clinical psychologist and ADHD executive functioning coach. That is Christina. And then Celia said the next one, licensed associate counseling psychology, clinical psychologist. Okay, right. And counseling psychologist and team building. Celia, I did write it down. We write it somewhere. Is it written somewhere? So effective. Yes, no, you're gonna get Amazon gift card. So please email me with your information so that we can give us you the card. Right? All right. Remember to scroll down. I see 7 messages that I cannot see. Who's the doctor? Win some come here. Win some Johnson. We want to talk to you personally. What's happening? Okay. All right. Thank you. Every time I come on a class, I can't manage. All right. So Celia is almost done time in a Celia. Celia, we have things left to talk about in a Celia. Hi, Celia, you cannot put up the thermometer, Celia. Please complete the thermometer so that we can see how you feel. And in the meantime, we are going to get in some final punches on this topic because we mean it. You know, Denzel Washington said, I'm leaving here with something. People are going to leave here with something. Okay, so we have covered the key resources and some of the support systems there. Let's take it a little closer to home. What are some self-care practices and coping strategies that can aid in mental health recovery? And this is kind of going back to where we started. We'll talk about it, something that could fluctuate. What are some self-care practices and coping strategies that a person can use as a part of their mental health recovery?
So self-care, let's define that.
Mhm.
Self-care are the things that you do that fill your cup.
Yeah.
The things that you enjoy, that make you happy, that you connect with, right? These are the things that you like to do, you enjoy doing, whether it's a challenge or not a challenge.
Yeah.
It's something that is personal to you and is good for you and filling your cup, and it's not necessarily about other people. So even if you're helping other people,
Yeah.
you enjoy that, and that's good for you. And so there are so many things I can think about. So let's talk about the social circle. A man is not an island. Like,
Mhm.
we need people. That means that you socialize. That means that one person can't be a whole circle either. You need friends. If you have a partner, your partner, family, if they're okay, right? If your friends are okay, it means going out. It means not only just staying at work and at school or at home. It means you go outside and do other things. It means that sometimes you have to go outside and look at the tree and smell it. And sometimes I tell my clients after the session, go outside and take off your shoes and touch the grass and come back inside.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it means you have to open up the window because your room kind of musty because you've been in there the whole time, and
Smell
you
like
sad,
French fries.
it smell drowsy.
Yeah.
Open it, get the fresh air.
Mhm.
It means drink water, eat fruits. It means talk to people that you enjoy. It means you spend time on social media. Yes, I don't have social media, so I'm biased, but also spend time talking to real people and doing things outside and doing work on a puzzle. Have a goal for yourself. That's also self-care. Just work on something, Google it, try and figure out, okay, I want to learn how to do nails. I want to learn how to make glasses. I want to learn how to just Google it and
Yeah.
do that. It means just talking to people. It means that you have real boundaries at work. It means that if your work finish 5 o'clock, yes, if you're working towards a goal, you have to push. But if this is every day, then it is not good for you. Then it's gonna drain you. Then you're gonna get burnt out. It means that sometimes you call people and ask for what you need. And so you don't have to call and say, Carla, I'm so sad. It's like, Carla, tell me a joke.
Right,
Carla, come watch this movie with me.
right,
Carla, let's look on the picture. here.
Right.
Watch this TikTok. Things like that are so important.
Yeah.
It's what you eat. It's exercise is also important. Sometimes we don't walk. Sometimes you drive and you pull up at the closest parking spot. You jump out, you're going wherever you're going, and you jump back in.
Oh, you came here to drape us.
I'm also draping myself. But
As long as we're not low.
to go for a walk or do some stretch, move your body, because
Yeah.
that's also that helps to release the endorphins and you feel so good. And not the hectic gym thing is not for everybody, not for me, but just moving and stretching, you realize the difference.
Yeah.
It's like changing your body posture. We can do so much for you.
Yeah.
It means bathing.
Ooh.
It means brushing your teeth. It means eating every day. It means maybe you have to brush your ear, and sometimes it don't have to be the best style. Just do a little clip, something. That's
Put one bubbles.
put our bubbles in
Something.
there. And so if you were at level 0,
Yeah.
just that one thing can bring you up 1.
Yeah,
And it might not be the world of difference that you want, but it was so much closer.
yeah,
10.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Those were excellent, Christina. I really don't need to add anything in terms of those. Those are some excellent tips. For me though, I tell my clients, you cannot bury issues that are still alive. They will scratch their way to the surface.
no, but you come here as a poet.
On you. Sometimes.
You cannot
It
bury
depends on
issues
which
that
day.
are
What day
still
is
alive.
today? Thursday?
Wednesday.
Hi, hi.
You catch me on
Like that, it's
Wednesday.
kind of wet
Yeah.
this day.
Wednesday, right? So, sometimes
You cannot bury issues that are still alive.
bury issues that are still alive. They will scratch their way to the surface and haunt you. And depending on how long they've been buried, they'll be stink.
No, Craig.
And what I mean by that is 2 things. One is try to deal with issues.
Yeah.
Don't bury them, don't repress them. And sometimes our brain steps in and suppresses some stuff for us. Sometimes our brain says, you can't manage this right now. Me, I step in and I go suppress this, I go put this in the back burner.
Yeah.
But what I found is that the brain will bring it back.
Hi.
When your brain feels, I can't say feel like the brain. When your brain knows that you are now ready, that you're in a
Deal with
better
it.
place to deal with it, the brain will bring it back, and it's going to be a shock to you, because you're going to be like, what me think me to deal with this? Or look how long me not think about this, and all of a sudden no. That's because your brain suppressed it for you
Yeah.
so that you could function and carry on in
Yes,
life,
yes.
because this was so traumatic for you, this was so upsetting for you. But your
Yes.
brain says, all right, it's time to bring it back now and to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's where you might need some help and support
Yes.
to help you take little tiny typical steps to deal with it. Okay. And the other thing is self-compassion. Practice self-compassion. And one of my favorite activities, which I love to do with clients or teach them, just to help them to get grounded, is I will tell them to put their right hand underneath their left arm.
Mm,
And then if you could just hold this for
absolutely.
me. And then you use your left hand and you can either put it on your shoulder here or here. But basically what you're doing is you are feeling your body. So your brain and everything that you've ever been through, your body goes through it with you. And you're just reminding yourself that you are in this body and that you're contained within this body. And as your right arm is underneath here, just stop for a moment. Just stop. It requires you to stop. It requires you to stop moving, stop chatting, just sit still with yourself for a moment. Feel your heart beating, feel it beating. It will remind you that you are alive. You might feel dead, you might feel like no, I'm going through what it reminds you that you're alive, and then just self-soothe. Tell yourself that you'll be okay, you will be all right, you are safe, no one is going to harm you, you will be fine. And whatever other affirmation that you need to tell yourself, you do that. Yeah.
Now listen. There was a moment in the studio that I need you all to know about. Now, our production crew is here. You can't see them, but you see them. Now I'm saying there are a lot of men on this crew. So poor. You see the man them up themselves and that's about we could not just hear the healing of one another. Hear the healing of one another. You felt it.
Warmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The energy just, oh, thank
Trust
you
me,
for
this
that.
is my favorite activity. I do this.
Yeah.
I do this with myself
Yeah.
too. And it just, but you have to sit still with yourself. It might be something you do at lunchtime.
Yeah.
If you have a car, you just go and sit in the car, lock off the phone, don't answer the phone, and just sit with yourself. And just affirm yourself.
Yes.
Powerful
Oh,
activity.
Amazing.
the
Powerful,
power of just
powerful.
being still. Oh,
And touch.
and
Touch.
touch.
So touch is very healing.
Yes.
Very healing. So even when like one of the first things they noticed when twins, one wasn't doing well and one was doing well, and they put the one doing well in the incubator with the one not doing well and made them touch. And the one that wasn't doing well started to recover so much. And so you realize that's why we are a very huggy, touchy society. That's very important. So the warmth of somebody, feel physically connected to them.
Yes.
And that's what this is. You're hugging yourself.
Yourself.
You are holding yourself. And even when you feel like, I know sometimes we'll go through things like even breakups,
Yes.
and we're like, I feel so alone. I have nobody. Guess what? You have yourself. You have yourself. So just hold yourself.
Yes.
Just hold yourself. You know, where's a really good place to sit alone with yourself?
Where?
At work,
Oh,
the bathroom,
facts.
the rest room.
Facts.
Listen, because nobody not coming in there.
It's true.
Just sit with yourself in a stall.
Yes.
Nobody is coming in there to trouble you.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. And the bathroom is my safe space. People know that
Yeah.
depending on the day I've had, I go in there. It's 1 hour. Don't call me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't call me.
Yeah.
I need to decompress. I wouldn't need to left me alone.
Yeah.
Okay, I see that we are being nudged along, but I respect it because the thermometer results are up. How well over time. Okay, so let's hear the results now. 1, my mood has improved since the start of this life class. 76 and 18, me can't do maths, what is the high number that? Said yes or sort of. 76% of people said yes. Me can't do maths, Celia. 2, I feel more comfortable to reach out to others for support when facing mental health challenges. 74 plus 21, that is 95. No, I can't 95, because we have 95 and 6. Anyway, maths, 94. Anyway, 94% of people say yes or sort of. Listen, to help me on the chat. I feel more equipped to actively engage in building a supportive network to promote mental health and healing. 71% of people said clear yes, 29% of people said sort of, nobody said no, amen. I received practical strategies and tools that I can actively apply to overcome barriers to mental health support. It's all between yes and sort of. 82% yes, 18% sort of. That's 100. We'll take that. I've registered for next week live class. 82% said yes. 9% said no. 9%, please, darling, get it together. And 9% said, I'm about to, exclamation point. We love it. And you know what? For the people who said no, if you can't be with us next week, please remember, these are uploaded to YouTube. They're also available on Facebook, so you can watch the repeats, right? I received what I expected from this class. 47% of people said totally, 53% said mostly, nobody said not at all.
Great.
A win is a win.
A win is a win.
A win
I'll
is
take
a
it.
win.
I'll
A
take
win is a win. We're gonna take that win. Okay, so here is how I'm going to stress out Celia a little bit further and just sneak one thing in with my time limit. I'm gonna ask each of my speakers to do two things for me. Tell people where they can find you, right? How they can get in contact with you. Craig, I'm going to ask you to just speak to somebody who has been struggling with their mental health for years, and they still don't feel good, and they're like, I'm at my wit's end. That's what I'm putting on you to stress it out with love. Christina, where they can find you, what advice would you give for people who aren't struggling, but the people around them are struggling? That's what I want you to leave us with.
Sure.
I beg. Who want to go first? I'm not going to make eye contact with anyone. The 12 on this council on the love looking at people's face.
We were trying to do
I
that. All right, I guess I'll go first. So where people can find me.
Yeah.
All right, so you can find me, so that one like a YouTube channel.
Great.
Long time, I don't post nothing funny, but
Great.
but on that channel are I went around and I asked people questions, not trick questions. Like I asked people, what's the hardest thing you've ever been through in your life? Questions like that. And so you can find that on YouTube, youtube.com/Craig McNally.
Yeah.
But I'm on Instagram, Dr. Craig McNally, and
Dr. Craig McNally on
Dr. Craig
Instagram.
McNally at Instagram.
And we can find it over YouTube.
And I mean, of course, not like that, but those videos are really, really encouraging.
Mhm.
And of course, you can find me on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/Dr. Craig McNally or Craig. Anyway, find me on
The consistency of
Right.
branding for me.
Right,
love
it's
it.
Dr. Craig.
Love it.
Right. But this is what I'd want to say to somebody who is struggling. Is this my camera or is this my camera? Am I? I'm here.
No,
Oh, I'm here. Oh, I'm here. Really, all along.
all along. Like,
Jeez. Jaja.
not you lifting the fourth wall.
This is what I'd want to say to you, that sometimes dealing with being mentally unwell, struggling emotionally, requires us to become radically accepting. We need radical acceptance. What that means is that we realize that we are not doing well. We realize that we need to find help, and we realize and we accept that what we are struggling with is what we are struggling with, and we need to get help for it. It doesn't mean that we are less than. It doesn't mean that we are the scum of the earth or anything like that. It's just our cup, and we need to get help sometimes to lift that cup. Sometimes we don't have to drink all of what is in the cup, but we need to radically accept that something isn't okay with us, and we need to go and get help. That's what I want to say to you.
Thank you. And even if they get help, sometimes they need more help,
Mhm.
and that's okay. Oh, thank you so much for that, Dr. Craig McNally, everywhere. Christina.
I'm not anywhere, but Celia would will put my card and my information in the chat. I'm a little bit step back from social media and social advertising, but Celia has my contact information. And she also has the information for the list, the Jamaican Psychological Association. Website with the list of psychologists, because I'm located in Kingston, but if you live in Hanover, you know what come on.
There are people there.
There are people there, and so the list of, and I'm on that list as well, of the psychologists, clinical counseling, that are on this list. So you can reach out to them. Their address, not home address, but their work address, their numbers, and email addresses. So you are not struggling, but you know somebody that is struggling. And so I would say, first you have to check in with yourself and say, am I prepared to do this right now? Because it's gonna take some emotional bandwidth to be completely present with somebody who is not emotionally ready or
Mhm.
stable or okay right now. And then you ask a question like, how are you? And you open it up because you are curious. And then you might, if they say, I'm fine, you say, you can tell them what you've noticed and you can offer your support if they need it. And then you can also give them a number that they can contact as well. It means that if they are coming to you and sharing about what's happening with them, you just listen. And then you can say, what do you need right now? You want advice or you just want to listen? And that's very important too, because sometimes we rush to tell people what to do, but they just want it to get it off their chest.
Mm.
It means also not sharing with somebody else what somebody told you. And so, yes, you could reach out to HR or your supervisor to say, this person is struggling. I think we need to give them support, but you don't need to say, well, Carla came and she said this going on and I have this issue. And
Yeah.
because you still want to respect people's privacy. And it took a lot of effort and courage for them to share with you what they're dealing with. And so it's just compassion and listening and being patient and then being able to say, I wish I could listen and be there for you right now, but I can't do it right now. And that is so much better than you pushing through to be present, but you really can't be present because other things are happening. So that's my advice.
Yeah. I'm very grateful that you both took this opportunity to come here. I'm grateful that we have mental health practitioners like you doing the work in Jamaica, because I sense that you do this work from a place of caring about people, advocating for people, and like really believing that they deserve to live their best lives.
Yeah.
And as somebody who also seeks care, it makes me feel safe going to seek care, knowing that people like you are out there, right? Well, I mean, big up my psychiatrist, because if my big enough and don't big him up tight, right? But thank you. So those of you who are watching this and you've been with us, this has been brought to you by the 3 C's. I didn't come up with that, but I'm using it. Carla, Craig, and Christina. My guests are Dr. Craig McNally and Christina Silvera, and we have been talking about why mental health matters, some of the barriers that we have to overcome, the bridges that we can build, and some of the next steps that we can take. Please continue to interact with us on social media. You can find us at the Jamaica National Group on Facebook. You can also find us at My JN Circle on Instagram. Please follow our panelists. One of them you cannot follow, but you can contact our same way. You understand what I'm saying? And please make sure that you tune in next week, where we are going to be talking. It's episode 5 of season 555. We're talking about flirting or harassment, navigating workplace relationships in the Me Too era. And special big up to the people in the chats. This was one of those very tender conversations where it would have been very easy to pull back and hide and not engage as much and not be honest about what we were needing. And I think the people in the chat came in and they told us exactly what they needed and what they were struggling with. And I'm so grateful for that level of vulnerability, because it takes courage to be that vulnerable. So big up you, big up to the production team that makes this possible weekly, big up to the JN Group for this idea. And as always, thank you for trusting me with this space. I look forward to seeing you next week. Walk good, and whatever you believe is going to walk with you. I'm not sending any doctor with you. Walk good, and whatever you believe is going to walk with you. May it be good. Have a fantastic evening. Good night.
How you bring it? Good lady. How you doing? Oh, you doing fine. Why you making this mix up and play for the man like that and shine the down there? Yeah. Real kid from a record machine for the sound on a team big rock to me the down and team. How you making this make it jump on twist speaking of this? Tell me about it. Sometimes it's hard, but try and you make it. Believe you in order to achieve, go forth and take it. Set yourself free. But obstacles in your way, you may fall before you rise. But if you really want good, you know that to run. So get up and keep your eyes on the prize. So as part of your plan, you feel your ambition. And the Almighty One as your foundation. Hey, nobody get rich and rich because that's definitely wrong. Now, don't forget your friends and where you come from. If you are TT, remember God now sleep. And although you're a robber man and you get well last week, you fall about the street, but your feet ain't going steep because God is a silent river and you know him run deep. Throughout history, lots of great men and women went about things the old-fashioned way. They just kept on winning and winning. So strong. Step up in love.